Welcome back to Westmoreland on the Gridiron. Sean Meyers now joined by the second-year head coach at Greensburg Central Catholic, Marko Thomas. His team coming off of one of the biggest wins in many, many years for the Centurions as they defeat the Clairton Bears 34-18. Marko, first off, congratulations. I know that means a lot to you, and it means a lot to this program and all the players on your team. So what was the reaction like after that final whistle?
It was awesome. It was awesome. The kids have been working on this for a while. And just building up to the week, you could see them just gearing in and getting ready. And, they knew that they could do it. And I think after the first play of the game, you saw it in their eyes. They're like, all right, we're in this, we're ready to go. And then when the last second ticked off, it was awesome. It was great to see them celebrate. Tears of joy in some of them and some of their eyes, which was awesome. And it definitely made me proud as a coach.
Well, you mentioned that the players knew they could do it. How important was it that you were able to play very competitively against the Bears at their home a year ago? Now, you did come up short, but the fact that you were close, did that instill some confidence in these players already before Friday?
I think so. Playing them close last year definitely showed that we belonged. We had a couple of plays that we thought that, one or two plays here or there, that game might have been different last year. So we really believe that, that we could play with them. The tough thing is simulating their speed in practice, catching up to their speed in the game. It took us a few series to kind of adjust, but overall, I think they did a great job.
Well, I think a lot of teams struggle to simulate your speed nowadays because you have some athletic players, some terrifically skilled players, and now some experienced players as well, because a lot of the guys that you have at the key positions did contribute a year ago. So how important was it that guys like Tyree Turner got a lot of reps at quarterback last year? You have some returners at receiver like Amari Mack and Nate DeLugos, and even in your running back room as well with Jaden Kennedy. How important was it that they already have gone through the rigors of a season and now they're back for a second year?
No doubt it's important. They had a whole year under their belt. What we do is not sometimes the easiest stuff to do, especially in Tyree's position, making the reads the way that he has to. But after a year, he's definitely shown improvement. Every game, he gets better and better. And to have, running backs like Jaden and Dejan and receivers with Amari, Nate, Samir, guys that are in the right place that can make plays themselves. Sometimes, maybe Tyree's throwing a little off, but these guys make great catches. They make great adjustments, great cuts. And, it definitely helps to have, the athletes that we have out there to make some plays, because it's tough for defenses to adjust to that.
John Ruane obviously is a very accomplished head coach. And when he was talking about the success that Hempfield Area has had this season, he pointed to it's such a massive difference when a coach is in his second year, because they've had to go through the struggles of the first year, getting all the stuff installed. The second year, usually the program takes some very significant strides. Have you felt that that's been the same case with you at GCC?
Yes. Yeah, no doubt about it. Getting everything installed last year was a big step. I thought we did well, and we got better towards the end of the year. And then I think just with that year under the belt, all those guys, you're not reteaching anything. You can actually add to it, get a little more creative with some of the things that you can do. So definitely having that year, the second year, we're definitely improving, and it makes it a little easier for us to move and get a little more creative.
Well, we've talked so much about some of the guys who were contributors a year ago who are back. And one guy that you did mention who is a first-year player, a freshman, is Samir Crosby. And Dan Flickinger, my colleague, saw the game at Bishop Canevin, and he said, this kid is unbelievably good for a freshman. What makes him so good at such a young age?
He is extremely competitive. Everything he does in practice, he's 100%. Like, he hates when people don't go 100%. He's going to be a great leader in the future. He already is. He's stepping up, and we ask him to do a lot of stuff. He's our leading tackler on defense. He's our leading receiver right now on offense. He throws the ball. He runs the ball. He's returning kickoffs. The kid can do anything, and it's basically because he wants to. He does not want to come off the field. You could see him take a shot here and there and start limping off. You can't pull him off the field. He's just a great competitor.
You've played some really difficult opponents so far this season. You started out playing much larger schools like Mount Pleasant. We went again. We talked about it, Bishop Canevin, the defending 1A champions, even Washington, which is a 700 win program. It seems like for most of those games, the offense was there, but at times maybe the defense wasn't as good as you needed it to be. So what maybe changed against Clairton that allowed you to hold them to under 20?
I think we got a little more healthier. We had a couple guys coming back. Nick DeLugo's coming back the last couple of weeks has been huge. Ethan Shawley too, as at the linebacker spot. I think we're just starting to get healthy. We had some people recently. We've been moving Jaden Kennedy down to DN because we just needed help there. So he was able to go back to his free safety spot this week. It helped us defensively become a little faster as well. So definitely getting a little healthier.
Talking to Marko Thomas, head coach of Greensburg Central Catholic, on the heels of their big win against Clairton. So coaches will set goals before a season, but most of the time they always talk about the next game up 1 week at a time. Now that you've knocked off what I think most people consider as the favorite in the conference, do you reevaluate and maybe change those goals?
Now, our goals have been the state champs from day one. If you listen to any of our breakdowns, that's what our team breaks it down on. I'm a firm believer if you set the goals high, you can achieve them. You set them low, that's where you're going. So we set our goals high. We're not going to change. I think the schedule that we had at the beginning of the year made us stronger, made us more competitive because, we're playing tougher teams. We didn't blow anybody out, but we didn't get blown out either, so I think our kids really believe what's going on right now. And our goal now is win the section, then get through the playoffs.
I know that Greensburg Central Catholic and Jeanette has always been a rivalry, and it seemed like for a long time, Jeanette and Clairton was the biggest rivalry in the Eastern Conference. Are you starting to get the sense that maybe GCC and Clairton's heading that way? Is it kind of is it a little bit of a hostile environment when you guys go against one another?
I mean, it's just good football. You know what I mean? They are the kings, and they will be until somebody can knock them off a few times. You know what I mean? Because Clairton, you're always going to get a Clairton team. They're going to be big, strong, physical, and those are the kind of games you like. Even like when we lost last year, it was a great game to be a part of. And Jeanette, you're going to get the same thing. So what that they might have been down last year, they're on their way up again. And it's going to be, when we play Jeanette, it's throw the records out. The kids, they all want it, both sides, and it should be good football.
Well, you mentioned Jeanette on the horizon, but next up it's the Fraser Commodores. And I know that there's obviously the concern that there might be a letdown after a win like this. As a coach, how do you make sure that does not happen in your next game?
You got to harp on it. Come Monday, we're not going to treat Monday like any other Monday. It's not going to be different. We're not going to say, this should be a win. No, it's going to be the way that we practice every week. So we keep things the same. We keep it on schedule and regular, and hopefully we come out and perform right off the bat like we've been.
It's funny you say that because you keep things on schedule, and yet the schedule provides a little bit of a quirk. And I know when you play 1A football, usually you're going to play some Saturday afternoon games. That's just the reality of it. That's often the case in this conference with a team like Riverview that does not have light. So if you head to Oakmont, you're playing Saturday afternoons. That's expected. But a Thursday game at Fraser is not very common. So what the reason behind that, and how do you make those adjustments?
That's what we said. We're playing a max schedule this year. So whenever we can get out there, we'll do it. I guess it came about at the end of the summer. They had called our AD Dan Honey and said that they were struggling getting refs for Friday night, and that might be a possibility of playing Thursday night. And a couple of days later, we just settled on Thursday night. So.
I believe about a decade ago, maybe less than that, there was always a big time Thursday night game that was televised in the WPIAL. I think that was probably different reasons back then why they did that. But so ultimately you have a chance to continue this winning streak a little bit. You mentioned state championship is the end goal. How do you get from where you're at now to there?
We just got to keep on improving, especially, we played a good game Friday night, but we still made a lot of mistakes. If we go back and watch the film, there's things that we could have done better. And that's what we're going to harp on from here on out, just getting better, especially offensively, defensively. In the second half, I thought we played a lot better defensively. We were aligned properly. We were getting downhill, getting to the ball, rallying to the ball, which, is going to make us better in the long run. But again, we can't expect to go out and score 50 points every game. We got to be able to, grind them out here, especially when we get down to the playoff time. So we got to be ready. And I believe we're battle tested. We played some really good teams so far.
Well, lastly, I've talked to a lot of championship winning coaches many times years after they've won a championship. And I always ask them what stood out, what was special about that team. And they usually have something that immediately comes to mind. It might be a lot harder for you in season, but when you think about this year's version, what do you think maybe is special about this team?
I think, with the amount of quote unquote stars that we have, we don't have a selfish player. And I think that's going a long way to help build this team concept. A lot of times you get your top-notch kids that, they're me guys that want the ball and, they pout when they don't get the ball. You're not seeing that. You're not seeing that. I'm not getting that from a single player. They're enjoying the ride right now. They're celebrating with each other. Jaden scores are all celebrating. Amari scores are all celebrating. Nate scored. They're all on board with it. And I think that's what's setting us apart right now.
Well, Marko, once again, congratulations on the big victory against the Bears, and make sure you keep it up the rest of the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's Marko Thomas, head coach of Greensburg Central Catholic. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue with more right here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron.